Yo, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Vade, aka Pro Benchwoman. I'm bringing you another Duel Links video. Now, I know I've been absent on my YouTube channel in the last couple of days, weeks, who knows. But, you know, school's around the corner. I gotta focus on school. Full-time student, full-time job. It leaves a lot less time for YouTube. But whenever I can record, I sit down and I try to record and also try to edit. And, oh, God, it's so much work. But I'm bringing you a video today because I've been slacking on giving you guys updates on whether or not I hit King of Games. And you know what? The boy hit King of Games. You see it right here with this new updated version of Duel Links that they let you just hop straight into PvP right there where PvP is. Whatever, dude. But I am King of Games, and I wanted to show you guys the deck that I hit King of Games with. You see it already on your left hand side, but let's get into it so we can get into the nitty gritty. So I actually climbed plat because I was so tilted this season. I dropped from plat 4 all the way down to plat 1, and then I climbed plat with what did I use? Firm as the Earth Psychics. That was a pretty good deck. It got me into Legend, and then in Legend I didn't want to use it simply because what was the reason? It was Casey Cup was around, and people were running like disgusting ass decks that take mad long. I mean, I was beating Burn with it, that was cool, but then like, oh, I forgot why I stopped running it, but it just wasn't favorable. I kept losing. I only have one Borg, so once you floodgate my Borg, I'm pretty much dead. Like I can't really go on from there. So that's what kept happening. So I was just waiting around, trying different decks and trying to climb. I got up to Legend 2 with, I believe, Mecha Phantom Beast, and then I dropped back down to Legend 1, and then I switched over to this Alien deck after the new box drop. Abyss Encounters, go get in that. I think if you're free to play, I think just clearing the box one time with all the free to play gems you got is really, really good. If you have enough money to go in there 2-3 times, go ahead so you can get some URs, but that box is actually pretty solid. It's not even just the SRs and the URs. There are some rares and some commons that are really, really strong too. I think either Miguel Joker or Mario ZRG showed a couple decks featuring the ends and the common, the rares and the commons in that box. I think that box is really, really good. But let's get into the deck that I brought to King of Games, and I got some replays for you guys after this, so stay tuned. So Aliens, if you guys don't know, if you guys don't watch YouTube Dan or Guns Blazing, I think Timmy did a video on it with Ananta and Shadow Game. It's a new archetype that we got in the new box that revolve around these things called A counters. Now these monsters gain kind of control with the A counters. So all of them say the universal like effect is this effect all the way down here. If a monster with an A counter battles an alien monster, it loses 300 attack and defense for each A counter during the damage calculation only. And you can stack A counters on multiple monsters or just one monster, so that's 300 for each A counter. Now that's also 300 for each alien monster, as yes, they do stack. So if you have 3 alien monsters on the field, each A counter is minus 900 attack. It is so good against decks that aggressively attack you because you are aggressively dropping their attack. It's insane. I remember I was going up against a boosted Dakini, and I dropped his attack to like probably like 1700. It was, oh my god, it was so disgusting. So any decks that aggressively attack you, this deck is really, really good. Decks like Burn and Mill, you can't, they put no face up monsters on the field, so you can't really take advantage of the A counters, and thus the deck kind of falls apart. Also Hazy Flame, which cannot get targeted, so there is a very small chance if you putting A counters on Hazy Flame monsters, that deck you struggle against as well, especially if they're running beatdown. It's going to be really hard to get over them. But I have a couple adjustments because I did face those a couple times. But let's get into the deck. First card that I want to talk about is this card right here, Alien Overlord. Alien Overlord is the clutchest boss monster of this deck. I have 3, but I'm only running 2 because I didn't want to brick, because I am running balance and not beat down, so I'm not really taking advantage of it too much. But this thing says that you can special summon it by removing 2 A counters from anywhere on the field. So if you have it on your opponent's monsters, it's a free Alien Overlord on the field. If you have it on your monsters, free Alien Overlord on the field. Just toss them up there. and it still gets the A counter effect where it dropped 300, but it also spreads A counters non-targeting to every monster on your opponent's side of the field, which is so clutch. You definitely want to run at least 2, maybe 3 if you can consistently not brick with it. I think it's the best boss monster in this deck. The next card that you want to run is Alien Telepath. I've seen people run this at 1. I run it at 2 simply because you do want to see it. And if you have 2 on the field, and your opponent has multiple A counters on their monsters, you can pop multiple back rows. It's once per turn per card. But once per turn, you can remove 1 A counter from your opponent's monster to destroy 1 spell or trap card. It doesn't matter if it's faced up, it doesn't matter if it's face down, it gets destroyed. Dude, this is why I say about control. You're putting A counters for free on your opponent's monsters and you pop in their back row, yet they can't attack into you because they will die. Woo, so good. Another card that we're running here is Alien Warrior. I was running this at 3 because it's the greatest beater for this deck. Once it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, place 2 A counters on the monster that destroyed it. So you're starting to spread those A counters, especially, well, with this one you're only getting it on 1 monster, but guaranteed 2 A counters means you have guaranteed Overlord next turn, and Overlord will replace an A counter that it took to special summon it. I think that's really good. Plus this and Overlord on the field is game. Like, that's it. 1800 plus 2200 is game. That's real easy. Nice monster to set face down if you don't want your opponents to know that you're running aliens, so you can just easily rack up counters and OTK them next turn. Next card I'm running is Alien Kid. I was running this only at 1, but bro, you want to see this. You want to see this. It doesn't have the best attack. 1600 attack is like comparable to Electro, but its effect is super important against decks that may give you the toughest matchup. It says place 1 A counter on all special summoned monsters on your opponent's side of the field. That means when Cyber Angels is going off, whenever they get a ritual spell, a ritual monster on their field, they get an A counter on it. Whenever what's this deck that I'm thinking about? Whenever Hazy Flame is popping off, you get A counters on every one of their monsters. This is probably the only way you can get A counters on Hazies, which is important. What's other monsters that special summon? Archfiends, when they're using the quality Archfiend, Red Eyes Zombie, when they special summon with Spirit, dude, it's just really, really good. In fact, my King of Games rank up match, which we will see, I would not have won if it wasn't for Alien Kid. So you have to have at least 2. I think at least 2 is way better than the other alien monster right here, Alien Gray, which is a flip effect monster. You place 1 A counter and it replaces itself when it gets destroyed. It's a draw engine, but it's not really necessary because it makes the deck really, really slow. You're putting a monster face down to try to make your plays. If it gets destroyed by like anything other than battle, or if it doesn't even get flipped faced up, it's pointless. You feel me? Especially if you're going against C stealth attack and your opponent attacks into it with a level 5 monster, it's not getting flipped faced up, it's not getting destroyed by battle, it's destroyed by card effect, and you pretty much just wasted a monster. So that's the end of the alien monster lineup. I actually run 1 Evil Dragon Ananta because of mill and burn. I think we'll be able to see a match where Evil Dragon just kind of forces your opponent to either not set cards that they're not going to use, or either they set cards, they force them to not set cards, or it forces them to play a little bit different because they don't want just random things on their field to get popped. Because I have the opportunity of just not attacking into anything until there's no back row. I think that's really, really good. I run it only at 1 because no alien cards actually protect it, so it's probably going to be a really weak monster itself, and then it doesn't do anything after that. But you can run it at multiples, maybe 2, maybe 3, but it's just, if you're running 3, I think the Worm Engine is way better because you're running cards to protect yourself anyway. So that's it for the monster lineup. I'm running 2 Cosmic Cyclone because C stealth attack was in abundance when I started climbing with this, and I was getting real tilted by that card. So Cosmic Cyclone really, really helps out against that because they can banish their monsters, and when they come back, they don't come back with A counters, so it's pretty much donezo from that point. So I think Cosmic Cyclone really good in the deck. I only have 2 A-Cell recombination device, but you want 3 in this deck because this card is the crux of the engine. You target one face-up monster on the field, send 1 alien monster from the deck to the graveyard, so you thin your deck of 1 card to place A counters equal to the level of the monster you sent to the graveyard. So that's amazing because you rack up A counters on your opponent's monsters. Then during the turn, during the main phase, except when this card got sent to the graveyard, you can banish it from the graveyard and draw another card. So you get your draw. If you use this, because it's a quick play, you use this on your opponent's turn, you rack up A counters on their field, on their monster. They couldn't attack over your alien. Let's say that happened. Next turn, you can you draw a card, and then you can banish this to draw an alien monster and continue to spam the board and continue your plays. And especially if you're putting A counters on your opponent's monster, that's a free overlord. You can use this, banish it, get an overlord, summon an overlord, and then just go off from there. So like it's incredible what this card can do. Especially even if you don't have alien monsters, we'll get into it. It still is so crucial. So I'm only running 2. I would run 3, but I just don't have it. The next card I want to talk about here is A-Cell Scatterburst. Now, don't get me wrong, this card is trash. It is purely trash. However, it is the only non-targeting A counter spreading card we have. And I think it's the only one that the archetype has in general. So this helped against Hazy Flame, paired up with the trap card that's following up next, Powerful Rebirth, because I can destroy my monster, spread A counters on the Hazy Flames who already got A counters if I have Kid on the field, and then Powerful Rebirth Kid back. So now they have to attack Kid with more A counters than they expected to have because they can't get targeted by A-Cell Recarbonation device. So that only happened like maybe once or twice, and it wasn't really too successful, but I mean, it's pretty okay. Like I'll replace this with a 3rd recombination device when I get it. The next card, as I said, is Powerful Rebirth. You're sending monsters to the grave with A-Cell recombination device. You can then Powerful Rebirth them. So if you're doing this in your opponent's turn, whew, so crisp of a combo. And Powerful Rebirth lets you use monsters, lose your alien monsters again. So monsters like Alien Warrior that puts 2 A counters in your opponent's monster. You can actually ram this into your opponent's monster, stack A counters on them, especially if you have another monster on the field. This is great. Powerful Rebirth the Alien Warrior back from the graveyard, and now that monster has 2 A counters on the field. So if this is your only alien, that's losing 600 attack. If you have 2 aliens on the field, that's losing 1200 attack. That's bonkers. That's really good. So Powerful Rebirth was good. I was running it at 2, but I dropped it down to 1 because let me show you this. Wall of Disruption was actually really good for me because it was helping me against the Hazy matchup. I'm running Wall of Disruption at 2. They usually just Gyoku 1 card on the field, and I'll set my entire back row so that Wall of Disruption probably has a 1 in 3 chance of not getting hit. So Wall of Disruption was really good against Hazies because once you Wall of D them, maybe you can live. Next turn, you just go off and they have like 0 attack monsters on the field, which is bananas. And they usually scoop it up after that. Like if they get Wall of D, they usually surrender. So Wall of D, really good in the meta. It's not really good against Ancient Gears, but Ancient Gears I don't really see that often, so I don't really care about them. So there goes that. But the next card, the last card in the deck, is this card, Brainwashing Beam. This is what I meant by if you have A-Cell recombination device and no monsters on the field. If you have a set Brainwashing Beam, you can A-Cell your opponent's monster, and when they attack, you flip Brainwashing Beam and take their monster. What this says is select 1 monster on the field with at least 1 A counter on your opponent's side of the field and take control of that monster until it loses A counters. It loses A counters at the end of each in each end phase, and once the A counters are gone, you give it back to your opponent's monster and you destroy Brainwashing Beam. So you can literally you can put A counters on your opponent's monster, take him with Brainwashing Beam, use it to tribute for Alien Overlord, even though you really don't need to do that because you can just use it to swarm. You're attacking your opponent with their monster and you have multiple turns to use it against them while they just went -1 on a monster and now have to scoop it up afterwards. I think that's really strong. I think I would run 3, maybe 3 of these and 3 Powerful Rebirths and change up the ratios, But I think 2 is fine because you can win without Brainwashing Beam. I've actually won a bunch of games without even seeing Brainwashing Beam. Brainwashing Beam is just there for like the let's go full out OTK. And I think I have a replay of that, and I'll squeeze it in here if I can. I don't want the video to be too long. Sorry about that. I don't want the video to be too long, but boy does this card help a lot. So let's get into some replays, man. This is a really strong push for King of Games with this deck. I am running it with balance, so I can guarantee at least 1 spell or 1 trap in the hand. Balance is all wonky right now, so it's not really like completely accurate, but I can at least guarantee a spell or a trap to extend my plays later on. And hopefully a more optimal build of Aliens comes out next season. I mean, when the season resets, so that I can try that out, or maybe I'll build it myself, who knows. But that's it for me talking. I'm gonna get into the replays. I'm out. Alright, so I actually wanted to talk over a couple of these replays because it is key if you don't understand what's happening or how to play Aliens, because it's a fairly new archetype. So you see here, I opened up with A-Cell Recombination Device and Brainwashing Beam. I opened up a Kid, not really the greatest, but it actually worked out here because my man is actually running Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, which since it's a fusion monster, it is special summoned to the field, and since it's special summoned, Alien Kid puts a counter on it immediately as it hits the field. And because there's a counter on it, I can use Brainwashing Beam to just take it from him, and he has no extended plays. I actually popped the A-Cell Recombination Device just to get counters on the field so I can summon Alien Overlord without taking the counter from Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, and then I just attack him to the face because he used way too many resources to get out a big monster for it to get taken. I think that's a really strong deck, but it does show you the power of Brainwashing Beam and Kid combination, because once your opponent tries to pull off some crazy play, you can then take their monster and be like, nah, straight up Matumbo with the block. Alright, so this duel right here is actually my second to last duel. This is my duel right before my King of Games rank up match, and it's against a dual standby Taya, and I was super nervous, so I just started setting everything in the background, in the backyard, back row, wow, and summon Kid. And it actually paid off because he's actually playing Cyber Angels, which is great because it's just all special summoning. And if you saw what I set in the back row, I set a Brainwashing Beam. So homie goes for the Sprite Blessing, Ben 10 goes to the graveyard, summons Ida10, and I've been preaching this. Ben 10 should have been the one thing to get hit on the ban list to completely destroy the success of Cyber Angels, because it's the one that keeps everything consistent because you can search with it. But you know what, people have called me wrong before because Ida10 gets a boost or Dakini gets a, yeah, but if you can't draw into Ida10 without having a way to turn, but you can sack a Ben 10 to get an Ida10 and get your plays going, I think that that's a stronger play. So my boy actually tributes off Cyber Petite Angel and tributes off Feng Wang. I'm thinking he's getting out the Kini, but he gets out the Bright Bird of Divinity, which I think is a really cool card in this deck, simply because it lets you tribute, lets you turn monsters into tribute fodder for like bigger monsters in your hand, which is really cool. Once a light monster gets used as a tribute, you can just grab something from the graveyard, which is what he does here. But he's just getting A counters all over the place, so he gets a Feng Wang back so that he can deal with my back row next turn. I've seen a lot of Cyber Angels actually run Feng Wang to deal with back row. He gets big monsters on the field. I get no monsters on my field, but look at how the tides have turned. He has a really strong board, but I get a Brainwashing Beam off, and I take his Bright Bird of Divinity, and I A-Cell Recombination Device on his Dakini, simply so that I can get an Overlord. I pitch an Overlord so I can get an Overlord. So he gets recycled 2 monsters back to his hand. He has a pretty strong hand because he could just sack this for Feng Wang and pop my back row. But I use A-Cell, get my Overlord out, and then summon Overlord off of his Dakini, and then summon my Telepath. You see how far he dropped from 3,700 to just 700. That is amazing what A counters can do. Aggressive decks that just like attacking and doesn't really rely on like back row, like Cyber Angels, get destroyed by Aliens simply because of all the counters that get racked up on them. Crazy amount of damage right there. And once again, a win pretty much snatched because of brainwashing beam. I think that was really clutch. And I had that scatter device, which would have been okay had he had some way of destroying brainwashing beam and got back his other monster. I would have then destroyed my telepath with the scatter device, put my A counters on his monsters, and then they can't attack over Overlord. So I think that that's really strong there too. So we're gonna get into another replay, actually my King of Games replay after this. Alright, so we've seen the power of Alien Kid, and we've seen the power of Brainwashing Beam, how it could just easily just steal games. But how about games where you don't get Brainwashing Beam in your first hand? This is me going first in my King of Games matchup against Red Eyes Zombie. He sets a card and storms out the back row really early, really fearing the back row with aliens, which I understand, but I changed my recombination device because I know that he can't attack over me without that. So he sends my cards to the graveyard. I check his graveyard after this, and it's actually a Wall of Disruption. So it's like, why did you even storm that? You could have just waited. I had a Wall of Disruption as well. You could have just waited. You can play the long game because you have Red Eye Zombie, and you can beat over my monsters. You can tribute off the monsters that have the alien counters on them, and I don't really have that many resources in my hand currently to actually get alien counters on the field. So I felt like that was a little preemptive. He does mill out the Bacon Saver, so I think, I'm thinking I can't really attack because he has Bacon Saver, but he can still, if he has Red Eye Zombie in his hand or ways to get Red Eye Zombie onto the field, I think that he still has a better chance at winning than me. And I thought that was really preemptive and kind of silly on my opponent's part. So we're gonna keep it going. I use the tokens that I put on him to get out Alien Overlord. I pinch my recombination device to get Alien Warrior on the field because he has no back row. Look at that, drop all the way down. Gazuki mills out the Bacon Saver, which is another misplay on my opponent's part. Like, why didn't he use Bacon Saver to at least save him some life points? I don't know what he was doing there, but he mills out the Bacon Saver. He gets out a Red Eye Zombie, but because it was special summoned to the field, this is crucial. Because it was special summoned to the field, Kid gets a counter on this thing, and because of that counter, I'm able to beat over it and win for game. Now, what I said with the stacking up of the alien counters, I had 3 alien monsters on the field, so with 1 counter on the field, I could have even beat over Red Eye Zombie with Kid. That's how strong this deck can be. Like, that's why I was saying that he could have just waited and made sure that I get no alien counters on his monsters. He could have used the Bacon Saver to save his monster, at least save some life points earlier, or just keep the Wall of Disruption to keep me from damaging him that much. And he has a bigger monster to get out, and I only earn one tribute monster. One other tribute monster that can be special summoned with the A counters, but I would be so low with no back row and no resources in my hand that you did not need to storm. Yeah, sure, I would have still had my Wall of Disruption, but if you only kept 1 or 2 monsters onto the field, which Red Eyes has the capability of winning with just 1 or 2 monsters onto the field, he had a better chance of winning during his turn. He had a better chance of winning with the board he established than storming it out and losing his only chance to actually steal a win from me. Like, disgusting. I thought that was really dumb, but hey, you got me the King of Games, bro, so thank you. And with that being said, I'ma get going. Peace out.